People often avoid exploring their time management challenges because they feel they really don't have time to look at how they behave. You get that? Like, I don't want to talk about it because I don't have time to do it. And surprisingly, though, self observation, it doesn't really take extra time. It takes a willingness to activate and like an inner part of yourself. So when you can just get away from labels and judgments and illusions, and then you really just connect with the way you actually show up, the way you actually behave, you can have some surprisingly satisfying um, outcomes, right? So today we are on part four of our four-part series on managing your time as a leader. Managing your time as a leader. And so my name is Angela M. Odom, and I'm the host of the Better You Leadership Podcast, founder of the Better You Project. And today's episode of Better You Leadership Podcast is focusing on um, the article written by who was it? Written by two professionals, and we've been following this series really. So part one, part two, part three, and part four is today. The purpose of the article is to help leaders at all levels, to update the approach to time management to something better, something that's going to actually help you to better address the challenges of today's work world. And I think that's pretty cool. Is just to update the approach. It's like a paradigm shift if you want to accept it, right? And so, part one, we focused on sustainable productivity, and then part two was the phantom workload, and part three was about the different the four leadership domains as described by the authors, right? And so today we'll talk about behavioral change, a model that they have 7 steps. It's really easy and it's intuitive. Once I actually share it with you and describe it, you're like, yeah, I do that already, right? I already do that. And so the Better You Leadership Podcast is it's an ongoing journey to become better leaders. Women often undervalue themselves. So for me, I always start with mindset and then leading others, right? Leading yourself first, and then you'll lead others, right? So ultimately, when you start to put some of these tips, techniques, tactics in place, um, you're going to build skills and you're going to expand, increase your leadership capacity. And that's what you want. So, this podcast teaches women the nuances of personal development with the express intent of earning more respect and revenue, right? So, every week we'll offer insights really to help you along your journey. So my name is Colonel Angela M. Odom. I'm a retired Army officer, served for 27 years in the Army, and I'm a proven leader. And I intend to guide you towards being a more trusted leader, right? Everyone leads at whatever level they might be. So let's get started with this part four of the four-part series on managing your time as a leader. And the article is written by Marilyn Paul, P-A-U, Paul, and then David Peter Stroh, and that's his last name is spelled Stroh. It's a really enlightening article, and it is really good to look at someone else's views, the way their perspectives, the way they lay things out. And so, why am I bringing this to you, women leaders? Is so that you can step back and just look at the way you approach time management, your mindset first. And then, oh, by the way, I want you to take from this, I want you to start looking at how you show up, how you allow others to manage your time, your priorities, how you make excuses, right? I want you to take a look at that. Just start thinking about that. So let's go jump into the article. Just a refresher. Part four was a focus on sustainable productivity. If you recall, the initial question was the assumption that working harder, longer days, and more days in a year somehow increased productivity. Now, we all know that's a lie. We all know that's crazy. Working longer hours does not equate to being more efficient, more effective. It does not, right? Oh, hey, Carrie. Hey, Carrie, I missed you from northern Minnesota. Okay. And so what we talked about during that part one was clarify what really matters to you, right? You want to live life in accordance with whatever your deepest values are. You have to know what those are, right? And then you have to be prepared or be, stand ready to serve others' interests, their best interests, as well as your own, and from a leader's perspective, from a leader's point of view. And this is the author's article, and I just so wholeheartedly agree with the majority of the article, right? So we want to make what we're doing as leaders is we're helping other people make wise and sometimes courageous choices rather than doing more with less. Because in the way where we are right now, we have a tendency to overpromise and underdeliver, right? So we want to get away from that. And part two was reduce the phantom workload. And this whole thing of sustainable productivity, I just love the term, is to be productive over time, right? And so how do you do that? Is you reduce what the authors coined as phantom workload, right? And this is the unintentional work created when we don't really address the truth, when we're not able to clarify missions, when we're not able to ask questions. Like somebody says, "Hey, I want you to complete this project." And you're like, "Oh, um, okay. So now when is it due? Will I have a team? Who am I presenting it to? Just whatever. Okay. Oh, by the way, I'm already working on A, B, and C. Did you want me to put that to the side and make this a priority?" Just asking clarifying questions, and then just want to have some candid, constructive feedback also. So those were the things we talked about during part two. And then the four leadership domains. Whoa, I love this one, right? Talking about spiritual, mental, emotional, and material. Material being stuff. And then the leadership functions, as the authors laid this out, being mobilize commitment through aspiration, and then think strategically, and then build relationships and community, and then organize for action. That organize for action part really was about, okay, so how do you find your stuff? How do you retrieve your papers, your phone numbers, your contacts? How do you retrieve your notes? How do you track your commitments? Like I'm making commitments to you to show up every Tuesday, right, at noon Eastern time. How do I track the commitments that I've made to others? And then how do I track the commitments that people have made to me? And so that this leadership domain is really, really interesting. And so today we're talking about changing behavior. And the authors focus on a a 7 part, 7 steps to change your behavior. I really appreciate the approach that they take, right? The very first one is just know your purpose for the change. Like what is it you're gaining from changing? Like what is your purpose? What do you want? What are the costs of continue this way, the same way you're doing? And then what would you benefit from changing? What would you gain from changing? What would you gain from changing? I think, wow, what a great question. So the first thing is just to know your purpose for the change. Now, why are you doing this? And then sometimes when you're call yourself working harder, longer, and sometimes you're just playing around, and we both know that, right? And so know the purpose for the change, what's going to be the result. So you say you want to change behavior. And again, we're talking managing your time as a leader. And this is step number one, know the purpose for the change. And sometimes you don't know, right? Sometimes the impact is negative to your family, to your health, to your sense of being. So you want to know the change, the purpose. Why are you doing it, right? And then talk about create your vision. Step number two, create your vision. So visioning helps people establish a direction, that's going to move them in, from point A to point B. And then you want to have a shared vision. You want other people to buy into it. And most of the time, when we start talking about vision, we're describing some long-term, big picture, some aspirations. A lot of times, you might see, or athletes, they'll use this technique of visioning, and then lots of people use it. Making those vision boards, those types of things. So you want to create your vision. And so for me, I've been losing the same 20 pounds for the last, what, 15 years. I need a big old vision, right? Of a flat stomach, I need to be able to see it. And why am I changing? That kind of thing. But and some of y'all don't like my sense of humor. But I want you to know, without a picture of a desired daily life, it's really easy to get lost in your real life, the things that's coming up every single day. So you want to have a vision to keep you focused on the end of what you want to see manifested. And number three, and again, we're going through the article, right, is take stock of your current reality. And so, like you're talking about, oh my God, overwhelmed. I feel starved for time. What can I get done? And then you start a system to manage your time, to establish priorities and to follow through. You're changing your behavior, and then life happens. And then you start blaming your boss or the culture or the environment or your kids or everybody but yourself. So you want to take a look at what's going on in your life right now. What things are contributing to your stress, or maybe it could really be that you're not competent in that area, and you need some help. Um, so you just want to make sure you know what the root cause of the problem is. Like if you're consistently over promising and under delivering, if you're consistently not meeting your commitments, um, then whatever strategy you include, you're going to have some courage, right? And then the next one is get support. Support often, you know, looks like, someone else, providing some blocking and tackling. I'm using football terms now, right? Support, you might have somebody that is going to limit or help you limit or restrict the distraction, things that are um, taken away from your priorities, right? You want to look at, help might look at ways for you to reallocate your time, and you can ask for help. You can get an assistant. You can have notifications on your devices to help you get support. And another way, as is described in this article, is, and I really like this, is appreciative confrontation. Is what the authors call it, appreciative confrontation. So you might, and they give an example of someone who might say, "You're very creative. You're a visionary. You're wonderful to work with in many ways, but I don't trust that you will meet our deadlines. It's important that we work together differently." So you call this appreciative confrontation. It's saying, I like all these things. However, we still got to meet the deadline. We still have to get things done. And that could be, even if you're managing a meeting, you're hosting a meeting and you want to start on time and end on time. You might need some help. You might have to say to someone, look, how about I I'll be the timekeeper. I'll take the notes, and that might help you. So you get some support. And then you want to identify strategies for time management, right? And within this article, of these the previous three parts, we looked at different strategies for time management. There's so many of them, right? There's so many different strategies that you can use. The bottom line is you want to be able to clarify the mission and vision and goals, and you want to be able to manage your to-do list or stop doing lists. You want to be able to manage your phone calls. You want to be able to retrieve items when you need them. You want to have a clutter-free area, right? And so the bottom line is one size does not fit all, and you just keep trying different strategies until something fits you, right? And then you want to take effective action. So we're almost to the end of the 7 steps of changing the behavior. So I love that the authors use these next 2 examples. It says, in Man's Search for Meaning, this man name is Viktor Frankl. He noted that it is not enough that we observe our behaviors, observe ourselves. We truly learn about ourselves as we take action towards a meaningful goal. So what does that mean? So I can sit back and meditate and think about what I'm doing wrong and how I can be more effective. Um, like when I'm stagnant, it's like, oh, okay, I'll just call it a dream. And then once I start to take action, take action, then I can step back and look at my behavior and what I'm actually doing. That's what that means. I think that's really good. So try something, start doing something, then try to observe your own behavior and be truthful with yourself, right? So you're taking effective action. And then the other one is, this is all about testing and experimenting. And again, there's like a time management strategy that works for you might not work for me, right? Based on my um, daily requirements, based on my culture, based on my environment, my workload, all those things. So you want to know what works for you, and then try some things, and then customize them for yourself. Somebody might present something to you like, oh, okay, I'll try that. You try it for you, and it might not work the same way as far as implementation that it worked for that other individual, but just try it, right? And then so you just go deeper. This is the last one, number 7 of the steps for changing your behavior. So here we are at the end of the year. And so people start making resolutions and they start declaring that they're going to have like me, a flatter stomach, less weight, all this kind of stuff. But it's not working, right? It's not working because once we move forward and we hadn't changed the behavior that got us there in the first place, we're going to continue to encounter the same reasons and issues and setbacks that got us there in the first place. And so the authors, this line right here really got me, right? The author says, when under the title of Go Deeper, the biblical story of the Hebrews' exodus from Egypt dramatically points out how people conditioned to servitude would rather remain enslaved than risk becoming free. It's the risk, but it's the change. It is the trying new things. It is the experimenting. It is the failing and getting back up. That is the issue. It is the fact of not knowing what the actual benefits are to change and how much risk you're going to take. It's the I don't know whether I have enough support. So you want to go deeper. So making new behaviors stick requires clarifying the benefits of not changing and the cost of change. And then you're going to test to see, okay, God, wait a minute, I got a flat stomach, boom, right? For me, that's what I want to change, right? And so what's the cost of not changing? What's the cost of not changing? What's the benefits of changing, right? So the cost of changing for me is I'm buying bigger clothes. Like it's expensive, right? And so you want to you just take a look at, and I'm, been lighthearted about this thing, but the bottom line is, what are the benefits of the change? I'm going to feel better in my clothes. It'd be less expensive, right? So the benefits of the change and then the cost of not changing is what you want to consider. And a lot of this article has been really about leading oneself, right? And taking a look at the approach that we take to time management. That's what I've found, is that this is about knowing yourself, leading yourself, being courageous enough to ask clarifying questions to yourself, get out of your head, right? So that is where we are on the 4 parts of this story, this article, managing your time as a leader. I'm really excited about it. So let's just close this out, right? So in today's 24/7 world, leaders need to focus on ensuring the sustainable productivity of themselves and the people in their organizations. They need to think of time management as a discipline of making wise and sometimes difficult choices, not an exercise in doing more with less. I think the authors of this article nailed it right there, right? It's it is the discipline of making wise and difficult choices rather than let me manage time. Let me try to savor this moment, because once we step into the present, boom, just like that, we moved on, right? So you want to be able to live your life so that you're trusted, you have credibility, and you feel good about yourself. People want to depend on you as leaders. You want to be effective and productive, and you want to be engaging and respectful, all these things. So you have to have enough courage to make decisions that are wise and that are going to benefit the whole as a leader, right? As a leader. Again, this article was written by Marilyn Paul, Paul, and David Peter Stroh, Stroh. And I am so excited just to have brought this opportunity to you. And so that's 4 parts. That's the end of that. Again, my name is Angela Odom, um, the host of the Better You Leadership Podcast, the founder of the Better You Project. For you who would like to dive deeper into becoming a better leader, I have a private coaching opportunity, and for you, you want to, we can actually just set up a FIT session. And so you just go to angelaodom.com/leadership capacity, and leadership capacity is all together, right? And you get more information on that. Set up a time. You schedule a time that's best for you, and you and I will meet virtually, and we will go, point by point of how it is a good idea for you to become a better leader. And so the private coaching program, the opportunity is step by step for you to become better at conflict resolution, emotional intelligence, um, looking at your own mindset. The bottom line is, at the end of that, after you have determined, what is it you want to change from day 1 to day 100, my commitment is to help you get there. All right, with that said, you have an amazing day, and be sure to uh, listen, share, like, and subscribe to the Better You Leadership Podcast. It's on Spotify. The actual video podcast is on Spotify and iTunes. You can go there, and really anywhere you listen to podcasts. And so this is an amazing journey as we are closing out this year. Before I just end this, I want to tell you to um, choose 3 projects that you want to complete in 2022. 3. Just complete. Just choose 3. 3 things that you've been lying about, that you've been wishing for, that you've been hoping for, that you've been praying for, that you've been begging for. You're like, I want to do it, but, right? I want to do it, but. And so you want to make sure that you are um, that you are able to establish a strategy to complete your um, to complete your goals. With that said, you all have an amazing day. Take care.